Well, good afternoon, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana Weather. Wanted to do another quick video forecast update on our potential chances for severe weather. Did one yesterday, Sunday afternoon. It's now Monday afternoon, and I'll just apologize in advance for my voice if it sounds a little raspy or if it starts to go out a little bit. Been fighting a little bit of a cold, and woke up pretty hoarse this morning, but think it's starting to get a little bit better now, hopefully. But I wanted to do a quick video forecast update to give you guys the latest on the severe weather, because there's some, it's still on the table, and there's much that we can talk about with it here. And I think there's some updates that we can give over the forecast from yesterday. On your screen, this is a graphic that I posted back on Saturday just to alert you guys, and I still think severe weather is on the table with that moisture surge. Then I posted a severe weather outbreak with a question mark. It's always a question mark this far out, but things are starting to set up a little bit more and more to give us a better picture of where we're going to come out alongside of this. So first thing I want to show you guys is actually from the NAM model. The NAM model only goes out to 84 hours, and it is finally starting to see this event. And on the NAM's future radar product, it can give us a little bit of an idea of exactly what we're dealing with. So as we put this into motion here over coming days, we come into tomorrow morning. Here's tomorrow by about 2 in the afternoon. You see, by tomorrow afternoon, we could potentially be dealing with some thunderstorms here. Probably nothing severe, but as that warm front starts to lift north and we start to move into that warm sector of this, we could potentially see a few storms. Same thing with Wednesday. We have some scattered storms around. But notice out to our west, this big cluster of storms starting to shape up. And eventually, you'll notice it starts to shape up into somewhat of a line here, so that by the time we get into hour 75 here, we've got a pretty decent little line out to our west. And here we are. This would be 11 a.m. on Thursday, and the NAM model wants to take this through pretty quick. By 2 p.m. on Thursday, you see it's already moved the majority of the leading edge of the line through the majority of our coverage area. And so it moves this whole thing pretty much out by the time the kids are trick-or-treating. Here we are at 8 p.m. and the biggest, heaviest of the rain is out. But you notice it still keeps us raining much of the day. So if you believe the NAM model, Thursday's just going to be wet. Now, exact timing of this squall line moving through, and I do believe this will be a squall line setup, like talked about in the video yesterday. I don't see this being a supercellular thunderstorm type of event. The wind shear is just too strong. I believe that would shred the supercells to pieces. They just wouldn't survive in an environment like this. This is going to be an environment that's conducive to a squall line, definitely. And the question is right now the timing of that squall line. I do believe one will form. How severe will it be is, of course, the first question, and the second question is what time will it move in. Well, as I showed you here, the NAM model wants to take it in Thursday afternoon, sometime after, say, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. It wants to move it through the area. I think that may be just a little bit too fast. And sometimes, whenever the models are this far out, they want to take it a little bit too fast. The GFS, which I'll show you here in a minute, I don't have a future radar product for them because the GFS does not have a future radar product. But we can look at some other things that will help us to understand when the timing of these storms would come through. Such as our hourly accumulated precipitation. We could look at it that way. And it brings it in a little bit farther down the line. It actually wants to bring it in somewhere closer to, say, after 6 p.m. and maybe before midnight. And the Euro model, of course, we've talked about that as well, is the slowest of all of them and still wants to take it closer to the midnight time frame. So time-wise, we've still got a good discrepancy on what we're going to be dealing with. Do know it's going to be Thursday afternoon. We just don't know what time, but we are getting more and more confidence now, at least, in that a potentially dangerous squall line is going to be moving through on Thursday. Now, the Storm Prediction Center has agreed with me on this, and they've actually outlined part of our area now underneath of a slight risk for severe weather. Yesterday, I talked about this, and here's their graphic from yesterday. If you watched the video, what I said yesterday was that I really believe that they could probably extend this up a little bit further than what they did, and in their text on there I showed you where they said that same thing, and they have now, and you can see that they've extended it a little bit further up into our viewing area. If we go into Google Earth, I've plotted it, and you can get an idea here, at least. Well, if I can get it back on, you can get an idea at least of what we're talking about. And so my apologies for the switching of color on this. I don't like the brown color that comes with it, so I switched it to yellow to make it easier to see, but it automatically refreshes every so often just to make sure. But at any rate, you can see that they've trended this a little bit further to the north. It doesn't include all of our counties. It really just goes up to about the White River here and points to the south, part of Orange County, all of Du Bois and Crawford, part of Harrison County, and moves down from there. But I wouldn't necessarily worry about the rest of our coverage area not being included in this just yet. I think it'll happen. They just have to draw some arbitrary lines somewhere, and that's just where they chose to drive the arbitrary lines. But just understand that the severe weather risk, as the Storm Prediction Center has seen it, now is increasing up into our area a little bit, and they typically do a pretty good job on things. So, and I agree with them. I do think it is. I actually think that it'll need to be extended a little bit more. I think it'll eventually need to go a little bit more like this. Probably include the Louisville area as well, to include points from Indianapolis south. But we'll see eventually what comes out of this. We still are, 3 days or so away from this. So we have time to work all of these issues out for sure. We just take a look real quick here at the GFS so that we can understand the timing. Because remember, I said the NAM wanted to bring this through early on Thursday. The GFS is a little bit slower. Here we are at 2 p.m. on Thursday. And the GFS, as I said, is a little bit different. Here's your low pressure, deepening low, and here's your cold front back to your west. Notice the precipitation line, and this is 3-hour accumulated precipitation. You notice that is out ahead of the cold front, which is common, and that's what you want if you want severe weather, by the way. You don't want it along behind the cold front, because that just doesn't bode well. But it's moving ahead of it a little bit, but it's not quite to us yet. If we put this in motion a little bit and we go from 78 to, say, 84, now we get to the time frame of sometime between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. is where this storm system will be coming through. So, whereas the NAM wanted to take it more between 11 and 2 or 3, something like that, the GFS is wanting to take it between 2 and 8. And of course, I don't have the Euro up here to show you, but if the Euro would take it a little bit later than that. So, again, the timing is still in question, but it is something that we're going to have to continue to monitor. Dynamics are still pretty darn impressive with this, with the exception of instability. Just like yesterday, I said the instability was lacking on this. But as I said then as well, you don't have to have a whole lot of instability this late in the fall to be able to get something. Here we are, mid to late fall. It's the end of October now, and the reality is, if we get even 1 to 5, maybe 1 to 500, maybe 750 units of instability with the dynamics that we got in place, oh baby, we could have some potentially rough storms out there. And really, even with the wind energy we've got, we don't even need that much instability. It could be even far less than that. And it may. As far as it's showing on instability right now, we have cloud cover around much of the day, so it's showing very negligible results on instability. But as far as everything else is concerned, it's impressive. If you go to the 300 millibar, here's our jet stream level. Here we are in Indiana right here. I mean, we've got a powerful jet stream going over us. And here's where the jet stream would be going, right like this. But notice here in this area, you've got 120 knot winds in your jet stream, and you've still got 80 to 60, 100 knots over us at the time. That's impressive wind speeds. You go down in the environment a little bit to the 500 millibar level, which would be about 18,000 feet up. Still very impressive winds. The one that concerns me the most is what we call the low-level jet, and down at the 850 millibar level, about 4,000 to 5,000 feet up in the atmosphere. And you notice we're dealing with 60 to 70 knot winds, not even 5,000 feet above us. That's really stinking impressive. An LLJ like this, whenever I look at severe weather, if I always take a look at the LLJ to see if we can get anything out of it. And if I get 30 to 35 knots in the LLJ, then we're doing pretty good usually to get something going for severe weather if the other dynamics are in place. And we're talking 60 to 70. I mean, this is just outright impressive. And frankly, if this translates to the ground, we are in deep doggy doo, because that is just that is ridiculously high. If you're a storm chaser, this is a storm chaser's dream to have a low-level jet that powerful. But for those of us normal people, and I say normal because I could be a storm chaser very easily. I'd like track it on the computer and warn you guys more than chase it. But I love severe thunderstorms. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't. But I hate to see damage, and I'll honestly admit I'm a little worried about this setup. And here's the reason why. Even though we talked about the instability being so lacking, this time of the year we don't need much instability to get much going up, for one. And for the other thing, whenever you have winds that are just this impressive and this fast, those winds in the upper atmosphere are literally pushing the air in the upper levels of the atmosphere so fast to the north that air from the surface oftentimes is forced to rise up, whether it wants to or not. Instability creates a natural buoyancy in that air from the surface to make it rise, and that's how you get thunderstorm development. But with the air speeds up there being so fast, it could actually cause the atmosphere to be kind of unstable and lift, as air has to be forced to replace the air that was up there anyway. Now that's always a major question mark up in the air as to whether that'll actually happen. The models won't predict that. That's something that we just have to nowcast and see whether it happens or not. But that's certainly a possibility with wind speeds this fast, and that really concerns me, because this could be an underrated system, very underrated, because even though we say, oh, well, we don't have that much instability right now, so it shouldn't be that bad, well, this could be the little engine that could. This could be the one that sneaks up and surprises us. And I've seen situations like that before where we discounted it because we just, everything else was in place, but we didn't have enough sun to destabilize the atmosphere. And you know what? We had some rough weather anyway, and this very well could be one of those. So I don't want to overhype this situation, and that's why I don't even know if I should have used the word outbreak on my graphic. Maybe that was a bad term to use, but I put a question mark with it. Truth of the matter is, we don't know whether it's an outbreak or not. But the fact of the matter is, for me, I want to warn you guys far enough in advance. I'm concerned about your safety. That's why I do what I do on this website. I love the science of meteorology. I have a degree in it, but the reality is I don't make a dime off of this. I'm actually a bivocational pastor. So, I don't make a dime off of this. And I'm fine to do that because I love to do this. My priority is to keep you guys safe. And I'd rather several days in advance talk to you and have you understand how deadly of a situation this could potentially be than to take a chance and end up not being warned and we not take this seriously. Now, will it be an outbreak? I don't know if it'll be an outbreak, but all signs are pointing to me right now that this looks like something we need to take deadly serious. What's otherwise concerning to me, excuse me, which I had a cold, the other thing that's concerning to me about this is the fact that kids will be trick-or-treating at this time, and this is absolutely when we do not want severe weather to roll through. So I will be keeping an eye on this diligently, and of course keep it to Southern Indiana Weather's Facebook page, and warnings will go across the screen as we have them. I'll have radar updates. If you followed me during previous severe weather events, you know I post tons during severe weather events, and that's all in an effort to keep you guys safe and informed and ahead of the game. That's one of my great passions in life, and I do believe that this is one of those setups that it could be underrated by some folks out there. I don't hear a lot of Mets on TV talking about this much right now. I hear them kind of playing it down a little bit. I don't want to play this down. I don't want to play it up overly either, but I want to be truthful about it. And the truth of the matter is, this could be a very bad situation if the right dynamics fall into place, and it's looking like it could. So that's, by the way, temperatures falling into the 70s. I should say rising into the 70s tomorrow. So plenty of warmth ahead of this system. Real quick, accumulated precipitation differ by models, but really an area ride ½ inch to 1 inch with the GFS. The Euro model is actually saying 1 to 2 inches, so we could end up with some heavy precipitation out of this as well. But that's something we'll just have to see. Again, the severe weather threat is the more concerning to me than the heavy rains at this time. That could surprise us. If you go to the website, southernIndianaweather.com, you can find full details. Just click on the 7-day forecast, and you can get the latest of my thinking as far as that goes. I'm forecasting 73 on Wednesday, 67 on Thursday, and again, that squall line coming in potentially. And as you notice, it will be quite windy. So for Southern Indiana Weather, I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite, and I'll have another one of these videos soon. Thanks, guys.